Hey everyone, Combo here, back with another Empires and Puzzles video, and today I'm going to talk about who I believe to be the top 10 holy heroes in the game right now. I did a top 10 dark heroes last week and you all seemed to really enjoy that video, so here we are with round 2 of this series. I do put a lot of time into preparing the slides with formatting text and creating graphics for these videos. So let me know if you all want to see something different or if this format works for you. Appreciate the feedback and the support. And without further ado, let's get into our top 10. And starting out at number 10, I have Hilda from the Gargoyle family. She is average speed, class is fighter, and ether power is dodge. So definitely some very useful skills here with the dodge effect for the first 6 turns. I believe it's a 20% chance to dodge incoming special attacks. Fighter class is always super annoying to go against, especially when they continue to revive constantly. And the Gargoyle family, we're going to take a look at their passives right now, actually. So they have the Gargoyle's soft skin. Every time this gargoyle casts a special skill, their soft skin activates. The next 4 times they receive damage, it is reduced by minus 90%, and they resist all status ailments, mana reduction, and insanity. This effect can't be dispelled. So we actually just had our first Ancient Terror or Insanity War over the last couple days, and these gargoyles are a little bit more common, I feel like, on people's rosters than some of the other heroes that resist insanity, like the Costume Untold Tales heroes, and then the Woodland Fawn heroes also resist insanity. Those 3 categories of heroes right now are pretty much the only heroes that resist insanity, so definitely helps to have some of these gargoyles on your roster. The rest of the effects from the soft skin are also super helpful. The insanity is just another added feature. I do not have Hilda, but I do have Mina and Poffit, and it definitely worked in this past war and is definitely always useful with that minus 90% damage reduction and resisting status elements and mana reduction as well. And for Hilda's special skill, she has the Drain Strike. So she's going to deal 435% damage to the target and nearby enemies. The target and nearby enemies receive 708 bleed damage over 4 turns. All allies steal 50% of the dealt bleed damage as boosted health. The target and nearby enemies are immune to new status effect buffs for 4 turns. So she's going to deal quite a bit of damage, and then she's going to inflict 708 bleed damage over 4 turns, and all of the allies are going to get healing from that bleed damage also. And the 708 bleed damage is just the base level bleed damage. If you have her double limit broken, then that is going to increase. So definitely a cool hero. Wish I had her, but I do have a couple other ones in this list. Coming in at number 9, we have a new hero that just came into the game, Gander. She's part of the Untold Tales 2 heroes, or the Nidavellir realm. She is slow mana speed. Her class is Ranger, and her ether power is Ailment Immunity. Ailment Immunity, in my opinion, is one of the best ether powers in the game, especially for defensive heroes. Although Gander is not really a defensive type of hero, you might put her on your defense for Rush War, but that's probably going to be about it. If we take a look at her passive, the Untold Tales 2 heroes have this Molten Core passive. So this character's Molten Core activates each time the character's special skill is cast. All enemies receive Corrosive Burn for 3 turns. With a fully charged Molten Core, the Corrosive Burn deals 283 burn damage and lowers the target defense by minus 10% each turn. Extra damage to heroes with minions or mega minions. The burn damage is scaled by the amount of charge in the core. All charge is exhausted when the core is activated. So this is very similar to the Construct Core heroes like Nautica, Frond, Shawl, and some of those other ones, where they're going to build up a core as they get hit. And 283 burn damage might not seem like a lot, but that's every single turn for 3 turns. And again, these are stats based off of the base level stats. If you have them limit broken or double limit broken, it's going to increase the amount of burn damage that's going to happen. So that all is in addition to their regular special skill, which is the Spear Wand Gale. The special skill never misses its targets, attacks all enemies with Firestorm Strike, dealing up to 2,000 damage, deals 40% more if the target is of the nature element, heals all allies for 25% of the damage dealt. All allies counterattack with 60% of the damage received for 5 turns. Gander reminds me a little bit of Amethyst from the Owl series, but way better. Amethyst, I think, deals up to 1,700 damage. They remove fiends from all of your allies, and you get extra mana, I think, for the fiends that are removed. But Gander does way more than just the damage. They're going to deal that 2,000 damage to everybody, never miss any of the targets. Going to deal extra damage to nature, heal all of the allies for 25% of the damage dealt, and then all allies are going to counterattack with 60% of the damage received for 5 turns, plus the Molten Core passive. Gander has a lot going for her, so definitely a cool hero. Again, probably more of an offensive hero, except for Rush War. Then you could probably put her on your defense, especially with that ailment immunity if you've got her double limit broken. Coming in at number 8, and this may surprise some people that I've got her on this list, especially considering she's pretty much a free hero right now. We have Costume Guardian Gazelle. She is part of the Guardian family, of course, is average speed, and her class is Fighter. Her ether power is regen. So she's going to regenerate 420 health over the course of 6 turns. She's going to get about 70 health per turn, I think is what it is. But I say free hero because she is currently available in the Fated Summon for her regular version, and we have this new costume outfitter event that just came out into the game. It's only available for a couple days, so if you're watching this video more than a couple days after the video came out, then it probably won't be available, but the outfitter event is going to be coming back. We don't know how frequent. Probably every other month, maybe every 3 months, probably something similar to the Soul Exchange calendar that we see every 2 to 3 months probably. But you can get her regular version in the Fated Summon, and then you can get her costume in the Outfitter event for 300 gems. I know that doesn't seem free, so to speak, but to get a really good hero, I'm talking a top 10 holy hero for 300 gems, that's pretty good in my opinion. So why is she in the top 10, you ask? Well, let's take a look at her special skill. She has the Bandalora Dance. So first, she's going to remove all status effects from all allies except the caster, removes even status effects that are otherwise undispellable or uncleansable. Pause for a second. Now remember, that says status effects. That does not say ailments. So that is going to remove all buffs and all ailments. So when you are attacking with her, I would avoid any of the heroes that you have on your roster that have really good buffs that you would want to save for other teams, because she's just going to remove those. So if you have any heroes like Dark Feather who have that special effect, if you've got counterattack heroes, even heal over time heroes, you definitely want to avoid pairing those with Guardian Gazelle on your team. You can, however, pair heroes that give ailments to your enemies. That is definitely something that I would encourage. So she is then going to recover 48% health for all allies, and then for 4 turns, all allies except the caster start dancing to the Dance of Spirits. The Dance of Spirits is going to give plus 110% attack, is going to reduce all received damage by minus 30%, is then going to give immunity to new status effects. If the caster dies, the dancer receives 100 damage and their mana is reduced by 100%. This effect can't be dispelled, but it gets removed if the caster dies. Costume Guardian Gazelle is one of the most common ways that people will counterattack Bernadette, and she is one of the most problematic tanks in the game right now, especially when we're in Rush War. And if you're in Rush War, even Costume Guardian Gazelle is probably not going to help you unless if you get really lucky with tiles. But she makes it so that the paintings that Bernadette casts cannot be cast on any of your allies except Costume Guardian Gazelle. And obviously the special is also going to block any other ailments for the other allies. So a really good healer. All of your allies except her are going to get plus 110% attack. They're going to get minus 30% received damage, gives immunity to new status effects. Definitely a lot of great things here, and that is why I have her at number 8. Coming in at number 7, I've got Toon Vivica. She's been in the game at this point right now for about a year at the time I'm recording this video, and she's still one of the most annoying heroes to go up against and one of the most useful heroes to have on your team. She's of course part of the classic family or season 1 heroes. She has slow mana speed, her class is cleric, and ether power is defense up. Her class and her ether power fit her tremendously. She even has a possibility to reflect status ailments because of her master class cleric talents. I have definitely learned the hard way to not use Von Rothbart against her, because that is more than likely getting reflected right back to Von Rothbart and then spreading to the rest of your team. So if you haven't discovered that, that's definitely a big tip. And for her passive, she of course has the Toon passive. She will have a 75% chance to resist all status ailments, mana reductions, and buff dispel. For her special skill, she has Toon Heal. She's going to recover 54% health for all allies. All allies get plus 45% defense for 4 turns. For holy characters, this status effect becomes undispellable and lasts 2 turns longer, and she's going to cleanse status ailments from all allies. So her special doesn't seem like anything crazy, but she has a very high heal. She heals her allies for close to 2,000 or more if you have matching legendary troops, but that Tune passive where she has a 75% chance to resist all status ailments, mana reductions, and buff dispels, that is very annoying to go against. Coming in at number 6, I do have Lemonwood. Lemonwood's still one of the most annoying heroes to go up against, and he probably would be a little bit higher if he wasn't so easy to kill. Personally, when I go up against him and he's on a wing, I usually try to go after him first unless if there's a reviver on the team or if the tank is going to give me a lot of trouble. But too many times have I let Lemonwood go off when all of my specials were about to go off, and he just hits me like 15 times. He is, of course, part of the Astral Elves family, is fast, mana speed, class is Ranger, and his ether power is Dodge. He has 2 passives. The first is Resist Poison. This character has innate resistance against poison. His second passive is Shared Receive Damage, which all of the Astral Elves have. 20% of damage received by this character is shared with other allies. And for his special skill, the Wandering Star Shot. This special skill never misses his targets, is going to deal 380% damage to the target, is going to reduce the mana of the target by minus 20%. If the target has more than 30% mana after mana reduction, the special skill repeats targeting a random enemy. The damage is reduced on each consecutive hit. So a couple of interesting things here. One, I don't think I knew that the special skill never misses its targets. I don't have Lemonwood, but I have very commonly copied his special with Lord Loki. So definitely something good to know for when I'm doing that in the future. And then the second thing about Lemonwood, so we just looked at Toon Vivica with the last hero. If you use this special against any Toons, remember they're going to have a 75% chance to resist the mana reduction. You could literally have Lemonwood going off constant. So Lemonwood is definitely a very good counter against Toons, and just overall seems like a very fun hero. I wish I got to use him more. I only get to use him when I use Lord Loki against Lemonwood, so I guess I get a little bit of a glimpse of how fun he is. But I do know for a fact he's super annoying to go against. Coming in at number 5, and this may surprise some people, I've got Scroll Beast. I feel like I have a lot of slow heroes in this holy top 10, but all of their specials are really good. Scroll Beast is, of course, part of the Goblin family. His mana speed is slow, class is Paladin, and ether power is ailment immunity. I've already talked about how I feel like ailment immunity is one of the best ether powers in the game, so that definitely goes for him. And taking a look at his passive, he has the effects on special skill. He has a 60% chance to perform the following actions when this character casts their special skill. Deals 90% damage to all enemies, and all enemies get minus 25% accuracy for 3 turns. That does work in combination with each other, so if one of them happens, they both happen. And for his special, he has the Boar of Fury. He is first going to deal 365% damage to all enemies. He is then going to give a Wither effect to all enemies where they are going to get minus 400 attack. He is going to then summon a White Boar Mega Minion with 65% HP and 250% attack inherited from the caster. When summoned, the White Boar Mega Minion gives its owner the ability to counterattack with 100% of the received damage as long as the owner has a White Boar Mega Minion. This effect cannot be dispelled. Once Scroll Beast goes off even once, it makes it very difficult to win the battle, because first he's going to summon that Mega Minion for himself with close to 2,600 health if he has a matching legendary troop, and trying to get rid of that Mega Minion is going to do a lot of damage to you because of the counterattack, and the fact that he's withering your attack away makes it even more difficult. So you better have some attack growth heroes like Grimsteel or Pepperflame or Demiloon or some other heroes that increase your attack growth to be able to counter that, because that's going to make it very difficult to come back from as he continues to wither your attack away. So last week when I did the top 10 dark heroes, and this week, of course, doing the top 10 holy, but before I came up with the list, I went through the top 100 defenses in the global rankings just to kind of see what the top defenses hold. And I have a pretty good idea from wars and doing just regular rating and stuff like that, but I wanted to see what the top 100 defenses held, and I saw Scroll Beast in there a lot. Some defenses even had 2, and one even had 3 Scroll Beasts on their defense. So I think that shows how good of a hero Scroll Beast and these other Wither heroes are. Coming in at number 4, I've got Costume Zhuge Liang. He is, of course, part of the War of Three Kingdoms family, is slow speed, class is Monk, and his ether power is Mana Boost. So the Mana Boost ether power is very interesting because for that first 6 turns where he has that, it almost makes him more like an average speed hero, which considering how good his special is, that mana boost is very, very crucial. And for his passives, all of the costume War of Three Kingdoms heroes have this. Unstoppable Minions. Resistance against minion removal, which has 3 effects. First being resistance against minion removal. Second, it can't be prevented from receiving minions. And third, the minion attack and abilities cannot be disabled. And for his special, the Triumph of Strategy. He is going to summon a Shoe Soldier minion for each ally with 33% health and 33% attack inherited from the caster. When summoned, the Shoe Soldier minion gives its owner the ability to counterattack with 55% of the damage received as long as the owner has a Shoe Soldier minion. This effect cannot be dispelled. He's also going to summon a Shoe Gorilla Fiend for all enemies. The Fiend damages its target with 70% attack every turn. The Shoe Gorilla Fiend absorbs healing. It disappears after absorbing a healing amount equal to 55% of its target's max health. If you have a matching legendary troop for Zhuge Liang, those minions you're summoning for yourself are going to have around 1400 health. So I know that 55% counterattack doesn't seem like a lot, but when all of your heroes have these minions with counterattack, it basically makes it impossible for your enemy to use an attack all hero, and even attack 3 heroes are going to get a ton of damage sent back to them from that counterattack. And then the Fiends not disappearing until they receive 55% of the target's max health, that is a lot of healing that you're blocking, which is going to make killing them that much easier. Personally, I do have Costume Zhuge Liang, and I have him double limit broken. I felt like he wasn't too great when I first started using him, but every single time that I do use him, he seems to make a huge difference in every single one of those battles. There's been quite a few recently where I didn't feel like I was going to win, and because of Zhuge Liang, the minions, which is basically like an extra healing, and the Fiends preventing the healing, he definitely makes a huge difference, and that is why I have him at number 4. Coming in at number 3, we have Iga from the Ninja family. His mana speed is Charge, or some people just call it the Ninja mana speed. His class is Cleric. Ether power is Fiend Resist. So not the best of ether powers, and the Ninja or Charge mana speed is definitely interesting. It has a first, second, and third charge, which many of you are probably aware of already. I'll go over those differences in the charges in a moment, but first for his passive, he has decreased minion health. All enemy minions inherit minus 50% less health when summoned. All of the ninjas have this passive, and it is very useful, especially against the War of Three Kingdoms heroes like Zhuge Liang, like Costume Diushan. And for his special, his first mana charge, which is going to charge at about 5 tiles, he is going to summon a Kunai Fiend for the target. The Fiend damages enemy with 150% attack every turn. The Fiend disappears when it absorbs 45% of max HP. The Fiend explodes after 3 turns, dealing 1850 damage to the target. So obviously the Fiend does not explode if the enemy heals, so just keep that in mind. I did make that mistake when I first got Iga. For his second mana charge, he's going to summon a Kunai Fiend for the target and nearby enemies. The Fiend damages enemies with 175% attack every turn. The Fiend disappears when it absorbs 50% of the max health. The Fiend explodes after 3 turns, dealing 2000 damage to its target. The second mana charge generally activates in I think about 9 or 10 tiles. And for the third mana charge, he's going to summon a Kunai Fiend for all enemies. The Fiend damages enemies with 200% attack every turn. The Fiend disappears when it absorbs 55% of the max health, and the Fiend explodes after 3 turns, dealing 2250 damage to everybody who has that Fiend. I do have Iga, and he is a lot of fun to use. Generally, I just bring him and a few healers and let Iga do all of the damage to the enemies. You do want to make sure you don't use him against teams that have tank high healers like Grimsteel or Toon Vivica or any other healer that's going to give that 55% of the health toward everybody, because it's just going to make those Fiends disappear. But generally, you want to try to get to that third charge. That way, the Fiend is summoned for everybody. Using Nautica with Iga on offense is definitely very helpful because Nautica will make Iga fire that much faster. Something else that I've learned about Iga is that you can pair heroes like Hammerclang or Hammertusk or even Franz, any hero that gives extra damage to its enemies. So if you were to say put Franz with Iga against a team, Franz makes it so that the damage dealt is plus 50%. That's going to make it so that the Fiend, after it explodes, deals 3,375 damage. I have tested that with Hammer Clang where it's 30%. I don't know the exact math, but it's somewhere around 3,000 damage that gets dealt, and it definitely works. And it works for the Fiend damage that happens every turn with that 200% attack. So if you haven't tried that out yet and you have any of those heroes, go out and try that out in your next war. All right, we are getting down to the final two. I'm sure everybody knows who these next two heroes are, but who did I put at number 2 and who did I put at number 1, you ask? Coming in at number 2, I do have Rosalind, and I really wanted to put her at number 1. I do actually have her, and she is a lot of fun to use. She's very annoying to go against. She is part of the Garrison Guard family, fast mana speed, cleric class, and her ether power is counterattack. Counterattack is not really the best of ether powers, but the class being cleric is definitely very useful, especially for a defensive hero. And Rosalind has 2 passive, the first being resist mana reduction. This character has innate resistance against mana reduction, so any heroes that you go up against like Mina or Luna that have the flying discs or beams that reduce mana, she is not going to have her mana reduced. Additionally, any heroes that reduce mana as part of their special for their enemies, that also will not occur. So she will never have her mana reduced, but she can be silenced, so be aware of that. And for her second passive, she has the Guard Rally. Every 4 turns, removes all wither effects from all allies. Super useful. And for her special skill, the Moment of Joy, she will first recover 30% health for all allies, and then is going to add a stack at a max of 10. All damage all allies receive is reduced by -5%. So if she does go off 10 times in the course of a battle, your heroes are going to be receiving -50% damage. So definitely very useful in those long battles. She is going to summon a Shield Guard Mega Minion with 65% health and 180% attack inherited from the caster. The Shield Guard Mega Minion is going to safely cleanse the latest cleansable status ailment from all allies each turn. The Safe Cleanse is going to bypass the secondary effects, such as damage on removal, or from the removed status ailment. So think about heroes like Pepper Flame or Poffit or Starwalker or Erling Shen, where they give an ailment, and if it is cleansed, then there is additional damage that is dealt to that enemy. That is not going to happen with Rosalind's Mega Minion safely cleansing the latest cleansable status ailment. Definitely a really fun hero, a pain to go up against if she is the tank at defense, because that Mega Minion is very strong. It's going to have about 2,500, 2,600 health once it gets started, and she's going to start off with that smaller Mega Minion because of being part of the Garrison Guard family. So that's kind of another annoying thing because it just makes it that much harder to kill her. And the longer the battle goes with the stacks for the damage reduction, good luck. And coming in at number 1, no surprise here, we've got Sludgus. He is of course part of the Slime family. Average mana speed, class is cleric, and ether power is regen. He has 2 passives that all of the Slime family members have. The first being Slime Minion upon defeat. When this hero is defeated, it summons a Slime Mega Minion to nearby allies with 50% health and 40% attack inherited from the caster. Their second passive, the Slime Minion Split. If this character loses more than 25% max health at once, they summon a Slime Mega Minion with 50% health and 40% attack for themselves. And for their special, the Dance of the Slimy, they are first going to recover 50% health for all allies, and then all allies except the caster receive the Dance of the Slimy for 4 turns, which is going to give plus 45% chance to dodge special skills, and each dodge is going to damage the attacker for 1,600 damage. When the dance ends, the dancer recovers 700 health. All existing status effects are removed when the dance is added. Dance gives immunity to new status effects. New dance effect will replace this effect. Dance cannot be dispelled. This effect is removed when the caster is defeated. When Sludgus is at tank, it is very annoying once this gets activated even once, and because Sludgus is the cleric class, they have a high chance to resist negative effects that come in, which just makes it that much more difficult to counter against Sludgus. And if you deal more than 25% of damage, he's going to get that Slime Mega Minion, and with the Dance of the Slimy on all the other allies, it basically makes it so that you have to try to kill Sludgus first, because you do not want a chance having that 1,600 damage go to any of your allies. Super annoying to go up against, and that is why we have Sludgus at number 1. And those are the heroes I believe to be the current top 10 in the game right now for Holy Heroes. Personally, I have Rosalind, Iga, Costume Zhuzhlang, Toon Viv, and now I have costume Guardian Gazelle from getting her costume at the Outfitter event that just came out. There were definitely some heroes I would have loved to include that were not on this list, but they just didn't make the cut because I couldn't justify taking someone else off. Let me know who you feel got snubbed on my list, but some of the other heroes I was considering were Astrid, Shimmerscale, and Alvar. I will also pin a comment with a link to the top 10 Dark Heroes video that I did last week, and as I post the other 3 colors over the next couple weeks, I will update that pinned comment with those videos as well. And that is going to do it for today's video. I hope you did enjoy it or found it helpful. And if you did, hit that like button, make sure you sub to my channel, and I'll catch you guys next time.